Hello, good evening, everyone. My camera is going to be on in a few minutes. Okay, it doesn't even look like you're in. When you asked me about it, if you come to this place, then I'm in. All right, good evening and welcome. We are live and we are recording already. All right, welcome, Mrs. Yanoluwa Ayotai. What's that? Oh, let me read. Oyatoye. Hi,
Oyatui.
Oyatoye.
Kolawole. Yeah.
All right, good evening, yeah. Don't worry, I'm not so bad with names, so I don't know what I'm
Ah,
doing. As I'm not bad with
it's
Nigerian names.
fine.
My
It's
it's my husband and
it's
my children that are hard with names. Oh my
it's
goodness.
fine.
I'm like, are you guys Nigerians? All right, so I just got a power. I just had a cut, and I'll be on in my camera will be on in another 1 minute. How are you,
Oh,
Enemoyam? How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm great. And you?
I'm
I'm
good.
fine.
All right then. So
Hi,
I'll give
Annie. I hope that's her name.
Enemoyam.
Yeah. Hi. How you doing?
She's muted.
Okay.
Enemoyam is joining us from Ghana. So let them
Oh
know.
wow.
We're not even waiting for anybody. I've told them I'm not waiting for anybody. We get in here, we shoot, they can catch the replay. All right. So it's not a not a very big class. It's a class of about 10, 12 participants, thereabouts. So they will join us as the class goes on. All right. So do you have any slides you want to share so that I can allow you share?
Yes. So let me quickly do that, right? Give me a minute, please. Share screen. Okay, so it's saying disabled participant. So I think you may have to make me a co-host to be able to share because it's saying that I can't share. Post disabled participant screen
All
share.
right, try again. I just allowed
All
multiple people
right.
to
All
share.
right. All right. Okay, so that's it. Um, Let me take it back here. And kindly confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, I think I can.
Okay. Let me minimize this so we are good to. Okay. So just let me know when it's a good time to start so I can get to it. Hi, anymore. Uh, I'm trying to get used to that. Wait, let me see. Uh, okay. Enimoyam. Yeah, Enimoyam. How you doing? I think she's off again. Hello, mom. I just wanted to confirm that everyone can still hear me. Okay. Okay. Think so. Oh, she's out already.
All right, I'm so sorry about this. I think we're set to go now. I'm so sorry. All right, so you can go ahead now.
All right, please confirm you can still see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Okay. So is Enimuyan out? Because I noticed she dropped off the
She went.
call already.
Don't worry, I will join as the class goes on. It's okay.
Okay, okay. What about the other participants? Are they joining via YouTube? Are they joining later on?
They're joining. I don't. No, I didn't even share a YouTube link, so they are all joining here.
Okay,
But it's Sunday, and I don't know. But as I said, I told them I won't wait. If you join, you join. If not, you will catch the replay.
okay, okay. So let's go into the class then.
Yes, please.
All right, all right. So today we'll be talking about the basics of investing. So I called it investment 001, not 101, like would usually call it, because I feel like it's the very, very basic, considering the class that we are our target audience for this particular discourse. So give me a minute, please. Okay. All right. So I am aware that you already took them through a bit of savings, a little bit on that already yesterday, and some other things. So, but I just thought that it's important to also take them through what the cycle of wealth, of the wealth trajectory is like. Let me quickly minimize this. Pardon me. Okay. Yeah. The life cycle and wealth trajectory. So, at Meristem, it's one of the things that we get to talk about because our mantra is actually to help people grow well. So for the life cycle and wealth trajectory, we are aware that there's a stage for accumulation, there's a stage for accumulation, there's a stage for preservation of wealth, there's a stage for the distribution of that wealth. So at the initial stage, which is the accumulation stage, you will find that people oftentimes would either be single, married, or they're already building their family. And in this particular case, our target audience is basically people who are single. So we're looking at ages between 8 to 15. So at this stage, up until it's not too young to start, knowing more about wealth, having to make money, having to make wealth, invest, and all of that. So at this stage for you, it's more like the accumulation stage. So you're trying to accumulate as much as you can in terms of the funds that you earn, the money you earn. You're trying to see what part you're trying to go through, or the skills you're trying to hone to be able to accumulate wealth that can be converted basically into making money, and then you begin to talk about investment. So most times these ages, it might be, let's just say from 8 in this context now till like maybe about 30, 35, or let's put it at 45, considering the fact that for retirements, at least in Nigeria, we know that for the civil service, if we're using the civil service, it's either you're 60 years or put in 35 years of service. So at that stage, from let's say 8 to about um from 8 to about 45 or 44, we can say that's the accumulation stage. While the pre-retirement stage is you're gradually winding into that stage. You're beginning to think about retirement. What would you be doing when you retire? What kind of investment should you put in place now? It's not too late to still see if there are some errors that you've made that you want to salvage in order to ensure that your investment path is on the right track. So that stage most times is called preservation. So you would have accumulated at some stage of your life, at the early stages of your life, and then at probably 45 to like 60, or let's say 59, pre-retirement now, you are preserving what you earn. Your risk appetite is lower. You're looking not to explore risk or try different options. It's minimal compared to when you are still young, youthful, and all of that. So you're looking to see how you can preserve what you've been able to accumulate, how you can multiply it. That's your major focus in that stage. Then we have the post-retirement stage. The post-retirement stage, oftentimes, we are using Nigeria as a case study. That will be 60 years and above. So 60 years and above, you're looking to put your assets in order. You're looking to say, okay, now I'm 60. I want to start putting my house in order. So in case anything happens, this is how I want my funds to go. Okay, I'm checking my children are still in school, or I still have one still in school, probably university, and I still want him to go to have his master's. So you're beginning to say, okay, I want to set up an education trust fund if you didn't set one before, to cater for that child's education, should in case anything happens. You're beginning to say, okay, I want to have a living trust, a trust that is set up to help to transfer your assets seamlessly from yourself, of course, to your beneficiary. And at the same time, while you're alive, you're still earning on it. So that is what the post-retirement caters for. Let's go to the next slide. So, which brings us to the next slide, which talks about the guiding principles to investing and, the financial planning and your money interaction. How exactly do you interact with money? So the 3 stages basically. Hi, Ada, thank you for joining in. All right, so the 3 stages, we are looking at money, making money. We're looking at managing money. Welcome back, Annie. We're looking at managing money, multiplying money. So in the first box, can you see my screen, Annie and Ada? Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Hi, Annie. Thank you, darling. Okay, so we have the 3 boxes, as you can see, all green, but slightly different in shade. So the first box talks about making money, right? So when you're talking about investing, the first thing you want to talk about is how do you make the money? What do you want to do in terms of, having to make money? Then after that, you need to talk about how to manage that money and then apply the money. So for making money, of course, you have to earn an income. We all know that it's not like we wake up. Any this morning when you woke up, did money just fall into your room? Did you find money in your room or under your pillow?
No.
Exactly. So you have to earn an income. And for you to do that, a lot of times for the age bracket in question, 8 to 15 thereabouts, you find that a lot of times people might still be dependent on their parents, but there are other sources of income. So a lot of times you find that friends and family will come around, they'll come greet daddy, greet mommy, and hi Kamsi.
I did.
Hi Kamsi.
Sorry about that, man.
No problem, it's fine. So you find that in your age bracket, people come around, they come to see daddy and mommy, probably for Christmas, or you go visiting and your dad's friend or your mom's friend decides to give you a token, or your uncle, So a lot of times for your age bracket, you find that happens a lot. You get money from friends and family. You also get money from arts and crafts. So there are some children, probably due to exposure, or it could also be the school that they attended. A case study is actually my brother. So I realized that the little drawing skills I have, I got it from him because I was forced for most of the fine arts class work, or rather homework that I was asked to do. A lot of times, because I knew he was so good at it, I would go home and I would ask him to help me. But I think one of those days, the teacher realized that it wasn't actually my drawing. So she asked me to do it myself. So at that point, of course, I had to, he had to now teach me, like, look at it this way. Whatever you see, try to replicate and all of that. And how did he come about getting that skill? The school he attended, he said he had most of the teachers being white, and they were more about hands-on learning. So they taught them, they made sure that arts was something that was almost basic for everybody. So if you find yourself in such a situation where you draw you find your interest tilting more to painting, things like that, you can actually monetize it. You can speak to your parents, talk to them about it, that okay, you learned about financial literacy, you are looking to see how this can actually be converted into money. And then it might not be arts and crafts, it could be another skill, you know. And I also have here academic competition. You know, for some people, they are so good at maths. It might be maths, it might be English, spelling bee, you know, competitions in schools. And you find, or sporting competition, could be sporting competition as well. So there are different sources, at least for the age bracket, where you can actually make this money. I even investing. Okay, so for the making money stage, you also have to hone your skills, right? And capacity to earn. So you have to now look inward and ask yourself, aside the handouts in terms of funds that you get, what more can you do? What can you do? What is your interest? You can have conversations with your parents or guardians about that. You could have conversations with uh, Mrs. Marybeth and say, okay, I realize that I like this thing. I don't know if there's anything that, you know, I could do with it to make some more money. I really want to make some more money to invest, you know. And of course, it's something you have to do under the guidance of your guardian or your parents. Then under the making money stage, you begin to realize that you want to also multiply your streams of income gradually. It's a gradual step. You would have an active and passive income. So these days, we realize that kids get to go to school. In terms, I'm referring to university now quickly. Not like maybe during our own time. Most times, you find that people go to the university between the ages of maybe 18, 17, thereabouts, few 16 and the likes. So maybe at age 15, you're already going to school, you're entitled to a pocket money, right? If you have a pocket money and it is regular every month on the 25th, daddy gives me 5,000 naira. So we could say that is your active income, so to say. So, but then when you begin to learn a skill or hone those skills and perfect those skills and begin to monetize those skills, then we begin to say, okay, let's say it's art and crafts, it comes once in a while. It depends on when people buy from you. So we could say that's a passive income. So it's not something that is regular on the dot. And if it can also be the other way around, where it's a situation of people actually, maybe the way I described earlier, an uncle gives you money, that could be your passive. And your skills that you've actually perfected can also now be something that you feel is, you've studied the trajectory, maybe once a week, someone actually buys something from you. So you could say, okay, that one becomes an active, depending on the case that you are experiencing. So we move to the next stage, which is managing the money. So you've been able to perfect your skills, you've been able to multiply your streams of income, you've been able to identify what skill you actually think can be monetized. Now that you are making the money, you need to know how to manage the money. So money, when it is not properly managed, actually it's almost like it has a wings and it flies away, so to speak, pictorially. So it's like it has wings. If you don't clip the wings, it will fly away. And the only way you can clip it is by managing it or by investing it. So for the stage of managing the money, you have to be sincere with yourself. Now, let's take, for example, you have 100,000 naira, right? Be sincere with yourself. Separate your needs from your wants. What are your needs? What are your wants? You know, you need to be able to compartmentalize these things. What are your needs? What are your wants? Hi, Ada. You raised your hand. You want to say something? Please go
Is
ahead,
the
darling.
separating your needs from your wants a question?
Oh, no, but I was actually going to get there. I was going to ask if you guys know the difference between the two.
I
Do you
do.
want to? Okay, please go ahead,
Can I
darling.
explain?
Yes, please.
So needs are the things that you actually, well, needs are the things that are necessary. The
That's correct.
things that you actually have have to have for to live your life. While
Beautiful.
wants are the things that you don't really like need them, but I like it, so I
Just to
just
satisfy a desire,
I want to have
right?
it.
Yeah. Just it's a
An
nice to
example
have.
of a need, an example of a need is food. An
Yes.
example of a want is like, let's say that you're going to the supermarket with your parents and then you see this shoe and you really like it.
Yeah.
That'll be
Beautiful. 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 That's an impressive one. Thank you so much. Hi, Annie. Did you hear what Ada said? Do you agree
Yes,
with Ada?
yes.
Okay. Okay. So if you agree with Ada, would you say shawarma after having your breakfast? Would you say it's a need or a want? So let's say you had your breakfast at 10 a.m. and shawarma, you begin to crave shawarma at 10:30 a.m. Would you say it's a need or a want? Hi, Osinachi, you're welcome.
I want.
Perfect, perfect. So we are getting there. You guys understand this. So I noticed, I'm not sure I can see Ada again. Okay, Ada is still there, but Osinachi just joined. You're welcome, Osinachi. So you want to give you want to share your perspective as well? Because I can see your hand raised.
Yes, ma'am.
Please go ahead, darling.
So my question is, when you have a need and
Mm-hmm.
when you have a need and you want to satisfy a want, can you go into your savings to get what you need, or to get what you need, the money you need to um to buy what you need? Like, let's say you are going to the supermarket and then you needed 50 naira to buy pepper, and you needed 1,000 naira to buy 1 kg of meat. So would you go into your savings to get money for the need, or would you have like a separate amount or like a budget that you're using for that, for the separate, for
So
the
thank you so much, Osinachi. So let me recap if I got that correctly. So you're asking if you can tap into your savings for your needs. Is that correct? Or
Yes,
if you have a different.
yes, ma.
Okay. Yes, you can. You can tap into your savings for a need, not a want, for a need. Yes, you can tap into your savings. Okay, so I see that we are getting a grasp of this. So let's move to the next one. Um, so the next point now is the first one is be sincere. Don't lie to yourself. So knowing that shawarma at 10:30 after having your breakfast at 10, knowing that it's a want, but saying that, oh, it's food now, it's still food and food is an essential. That would be you not being truthful to yourself. So you have to be sincere in order to manage your money. Then the second point is be disciplined. You have to be disciplined. Delayed gratification. That's where that comes from. That comes in. Delayed gratification. So you have to be able to learn that not everything you want, not everything you want in the instant is what you must get. There are certain things that you can get later on, right? I remember, I think it was Mrs. Ibua Awoshika that was saying that at the initial stage of her life, while people were driving cars, even Ife Agoro, I think, Ife Dayo Agoro, these are, popular people in the business space. They were talking about how they had pairs that already had cars. They had the fund for the cars to buy the car immediately, but they knew that if they drop all they had to get a car in that instant, then they won't be able to multiply the money, because in the actual sense, that car will be more of a liability to them. than an asset. So they had to delay that gratification, the comfort of having to just enter into the car, drive wherever they have to. They had to be able to delay that to be able to invest the funds they had, to be able to generate an income that can now be able to afford the purchase of a car. So in the event that anything happens to the car, they have a seed or an invested sum that can help to generate to also maintain that car, and they are not left dry. So that you must be disciplined. You must be disciplined. After identifying that this is a need, this is a want, you must be disciplined about your money moves. Your money moves. Okay, next point is you have to develop a financial and investment structure. So make room for emergency fund. I was going to speak to that when Osinachi asked that question. You can structure your savings, your investment in a way that you just the way I said, compartmentalize it, right? You have to be able to also say, okay, these funds, I want it to be tied for the next 1 year. This one, oh, this investment, I want it to be that anytime I need it, within 24 hours, I can have access to it. Anything can happen. That's why it's called emergency. So something comes up, you need to take care of it, or an opportunity comes, and maybe it's for you've been thinking for some days or for some weeks about what skill to actually perfect, or to learn. And then, but before that, before you were able to identify what skill to actually perfect, you had invested your money, right? And then the opportunity comes and you say, oh, wow, I want to learn how to make hair, or I want to learn how to sculpt or something. And then you have to pay the person. Your emergency fund, you can actually tap into it to be able to cater to that. So you have to have a structure that caters to different, needs and objectives of your investment. And that's why later on you'll find that I say it's good that you have someone you speak to in terms of your financial goals and objectives. And even when you're speaking to them, I also encourage that parents should listen. I know parents already have their own investment experience already, or financial experience. But sometimes when you listen to kids, will be able to know, or children, you'll be able to tell what exactly there may be sense, in what they are saying. Then the last point is monitor your progress. Under managing money, monitor your progress. So you monitor it from time to time. You need to check, like, okay, this portfolio that I put money in, what has it been doing? I invested in the stock market. It's been 6 months. I know they told me 1 year, but what exactly is it doing right now? Is it profitable? Should I take the money out and put somewhere else? Because there are times you will have to reconstruct your portfolio from time to time. So for example, let's take for example, there's an investment option called money market, right? Money market is an investment option, but the rate of the interest changes every day. So imagine as at mid last year, money market was doing a 9% return on investment per annum. And then you had said, no, I'm not doing money market though. You now put the money in stocks. Now, as at today, money market is doing 18%. 18% is like times 2, right? Of what it was doing last year. So, and the stock market is down. So you can just look at it and be like, okay, I've been able to make about 10% interest from the stock market. So let me cash out on that and put it into money market. After all, I'm not at risk to lose my principal. So you must be able to monitor your progress for possible options of reconstructing your portfolio. Then we have the last stage, which is multiplying the money. So you've been able to manage the money, identify your needs, your wants, and all of that. You must be able to know what your risk appetite is. So the general knowledge is that when you are young, you start, okay, so for your age, I would say that you start by saying your risk appetite is low. Then when you begin to advance into 18 to 25, 35, your risk appetite will begin to pick up. It will be higher because you're younger. You feel like even if you invest in something and you don't get as much return as you expect, there's that possibility that it would there's that possibility that you have the strength, you have the youthful strength to be able to make that money back. But as you begin to get to pre-retirement stage, your risk appetite begins to dwindle, right? So risk appetite is, like we say, appetite, right? Food, your desire for food, right? But then putting risk, it means that how much are you willing to go in terms of investing? Calculating, if this money goes, how will I respond to it? Are you the type that don't want to take risk and you just want to put your money in a portfolio that you know that your principal, your invested sum is guaranteed, and also your return on the investment? So you need to be able to know what your risk appetite is. But I would advise that at this stage, your risk appetite is a bit low, right? Then as you begin to become, more informed, you are able to make certain decisions and all of that, then you begin to diversify and say, okay, my risk appetite now can begin to pick up. You understand this, you understand that, and all of that. All right. Next point is invest to align with the investment structure. You don't forget what we said under managing money. You need to have like an investment structure, right? So whatever you're investing should align with it. So you have your emergency fund, you have your long-term investment fund, your short-term, your mid-term. So it must, whatever you're investing in must align with it. You could start with the emergency fund, for example. You could start with the long-term and then gradually you begin to grow it and diversify, which takes me to the next point. You diversify your investment. You curate a beautiful portfolio that is not only centered on a particular sector. So take, for example, you're investing in the stock market, you're buying shares. You're not just putting all of your investment sum in the financial sector. You're putting some also in the telecommunications. You're putting some also in construction. So if, for example, you wake up tomorrow and President Tinubu says he passes a law or he makes a policy, the government makes a policy, or the National Assembly passes a law that is not favorable to the financial sector, your return on investment from the construction, the telecommunications will help you to hedge against the loss you've made, from the financials. Yes, please, Osinachi, please go ahead. I hope I correct with that pronunciation.
You try your best, but my question is, so if the government made the law that anybody who is that the stock market would be decreased by 50%, then would people put money in the stock market or in the
money market?
In the money market.
Okay, so it can go two ways. There is what we call investor sentiment. So you are a potential investor. Enimoyam is a potential investor. Ada is a potential investor, right? And Chima is a potential investor. So I'll get to you, Enimoyam. Just give me a bit of a minute. So if, for example, your case scenario, which we don't really see happening anytime soon, but let me just put this perspective to it. When the stock market is down, as it is currently, it's a bit bearish. Two things. Sometimes investors react positively in the sense that they see it as an opportunity to position themselves and buy more shares so that they can be able to have a wider profit margin by the time the stocks start picking, right? However, there are also investors who bought way lower, right? So they probably bought, let's take, for example, let's say an investor bought Transcorp shares at 1 naira and it's doing an 11 naira now. But maybe earlier on this year, it was doing an 18 naira, but it's currently doing an 11 naira. So such an investor may say, since the money market is doing 18%, I've made an appreciable gain between 1 naira and 11 naira. That's about 10 naira. So let me just take out my profit. So call it profit taking. So they take out their profit, they sell their shares, and then they put that money into the money market and they make more money again. So it can go either ways, depending. All right, so before we take Ada, we'll take Enemoriam, and then we take Ada. Please go on.
Okay, so before you take their questions, right? So I'm thinking, right, Miss Zeni, I'm thinking, Mrs. Ian,
Yes,
I'm
please, it's
thinking
fine.
that you should just touch on each of these, because a lot of them do not even know these concepts or these words, return on investment, money market, appetite, stock
Yeah,
market, and all of that.
yeah.
So just do a little small definition.
Okay. So I had written I had written money market somewhere, which I was still going to touch. But the risk appetite, I explained a little bit. So maybe I'll just do a bit of it. I'll do a bit of it now. So do I take their questions before explaining return on investment and all of that? Or should I
All right,
explain first?
let's take the question because I think the question might touch on some of it.
Okay. All right. All right. Hi, Enimoyam. Please go ahead. I see you smiling.
Okay, please. My question is, what Antoine just said. What is stock market and money market?
All right, darling. I'll get to that. So let's take Chima. Sorry, Ada. Then
So my question is, what if like there's a scarcity
okay.
and you don't have any investment and you're not able to afford one of your needs, what will you do?
So there's a scarcity. You're not able to what?
Afford one of your needs. For example, there's a scarcity of water or food.
Of water. Okay.
So
Like
and
things
then
are
you
high,
don't have
you don't have investment, you don't have food in your house. What would you do?
Oh, ha. That's a serious one, though. But anyway, we'll get to that. Okay, so if you've been able to ask your questions, please lower your hand so that I'll know who else has a question, who hasn't spoken yet. So let me see. Okay. Okay, so stock market, money market, right? So the shortest way to describe money market is that it is a basket of investment. So it's an investment that is open-ended, meaning you can come in anytime, you can take your money anytime. It's not tenured. It's not an investment where you say, I'm dropping 50,000 for the next 2 months. So until that 2 months, I cannot take my money. No, it's not that kind of investment. It's an investment that it's called an open-ended investment. You come in anytime, you leave at any time. So different investment firms have their own maybe peculiar nature. Like where I work, as you give a 24 hours notice and you get your funds. Sometimes if you fill your form in good time, you might get it that same day. So it's open-ended. And the underlying assets, meaning when they collect money from people for money market, what do they invest it in? A lot of times it is invested in things that are under 1 year. Things that their tenure is under 1 year. So they invest it in different things. It's like saying that you have a basket of fruits, right? You have oranges inside, you have pineapple, you have banana. But their maturity days of all these investments is different. It varies. The day that mango would be ripe, the day that pineapple would be ripe is different. The day that banana would be ripe is different. But then we now put all of them in a basket. Then we now do an aggregate or an average of it, of their performance, and we say, okay, this is your return for investing in the fruits basket. So for money market, a lot of times you'll find that they put they invest in treasury bills. Treasury bills is like a debt instrument that is issued by the federal government. So the federal government also borrows from us, right? From investors. So Ada tomorrow can come to me and say she wants to invest, she has so amount. And I'll be like, okay, because of your risk appetite, I would want you to invest in something that is more secure, right? So I'll tell you that it's better to invest with the federal government because the possibility of the federal government running away with your money is slim, right? So the federal government will borrow your money. That's, let's say it's 100,000 or 1 million. They will borrow the money from you and they'll say, hi, Ada, I'm borrowing this 1 million from you. I'm going to give you this money back with an interest, which is what I called return on investment. So that return on investment, they are giving you to compensate you for the time within which you borrowed them. So if you are borrowing them for maybe 3 months, they'll say, okay, for 3 months, we'll give you 16%. So 16% will give you 16%. So that 16% is your return on the investment, ROI, return on the investment, right? So under money market, some of the money you give to people to invest in money market, they put some of it in these treasury bills I just explained. They'll put some of it in shares. They'll put some of it in fixed deposits. Then when they get a return on all of it, so let's say from the stock market, when they paid dividend and all of that, they got maybe 200K. Then from treasury bills, they got another 500K. From fixed deposits, they got 500K. So 500K, 500K, 200K, that's 1.2 million, right? They will now share all of it amongst everybody that has invested. So that's how they get to get the return on investment for money market. While for the stock market, so money market is like we can say it's like fixed deposit. You are fixing your money and you are collecting return. So your invested sum is guaranteed, then you get an interest on it. But for stock market is the market where people who have companies that are publicly listed and investors who want to buy a part holding of that company come to have an interface. So I want to have shares in Dangote Sugar. So I come to the stock market, I check Dangote Sugar is listed on the stock market. So I say I want to buy shares of Dangote Sugar. I just buy 1,000 naira because 1,000 units because that's what I can afford considering the price it is going at. So, but the stock market is more risky than the money market because you can lose your invested sum in the stock market. If policies can affect it, demand and supply can affect it. The stock performance also can affect it. That's the company's performance in the stock market can also affect it. So, but for money market, what you put in, if you put in 100K, you will get your 100K plus something. But for the stock market, if you are not careful, if you bought it at 20 naira per unit, right? If you bought it at 20 naira per unit, if the stock price goes down and is trading at 18 naira, it means you've lost 2 naira per unit of what you bought. So you can actually lose your profit. But it has there's an investment principle that says that the higher the risk, the higher the return. If you would make money also from the stock market, you would get a lot of money from it, but you have to be properly guided. I don't know if that answers your question anymore. I hope I did not confuse you more.
Yes.
All right, darling. Thank you. Okay, so for Ada, that question you asked there. So there's scarcity. The person did not invest and the person has needs. I think in that particular situation, what might be of help to that person is that the person may be able to leverage on the relationships that they already have. Because it's almost like you are on 0-0. even though we would ordinarily not encourage you to go begging, right? But if you've been able to invest, and that's why investment has different, you can invest in relationships, meaning friendships, family, probably you've been there for some friend before and all of that. You can invest in that. So yeah, it could be that that would be the situation, that would be what would come to your rescue in that particular time if you don't have an earning. So if you've
So
invested in relationships, what did you say, darling?
do you mean that if you don't have anything and you don't have any money on you, so you can call people like your siblings, your friends, and your
Yes.
family?
Yes. So if you've invested in that relationship, either with your sibling or your brother, your uncles, then you would be able to also leverage on it. But if you've also
What if
been
you're a
a
very
bad,
mean person?
sorry?
What if you're a very mean person?
Exactly. That's why we need to be good, my darling. That's why we need to be good. What, as in, that's why we need to be good so we can reap, right? When the situation comes, especially when it's an emergency, right? If you've not been a very good person, then at that point in time, that person might just starve and it will be too bad. So as much as you can invest in something, whether it's a skill, it might be your skill as well that you've been able to perfect. It might be a skill that you have that may also come to your rescue, right? If you didn't invest, you can't earn. Like take for example COVID period. Some people couldn't go out, but some people still made money. People still made money like in the house. Some had goods that they had already stocked up, so they sold. Some, it's probably that period I realized some people came up with counseling sessions because they feel like people needed to talk to people, so they created a platform to. So it might be your skill that you've been able to perfect that may come to your rescue. It might be relationships that you've invested in that that would also come to your rescue. Is that okay, Ada?
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, dear. All right. So the last point for multiplying money. We are still on slide 3. Oh. My God. Okay, so the last point on multiplying money is to reevaluate your portfolio, which I said from time to time, with a professional from time to time. So from time to time, yourself, your mom, your dad, your guardian may have to sit down with someone and say, okay, this is where we are. This is what we would want. This is what we are thinking. Do you think we should reconstruct? From time to time, you'd have to have that conversation with a professional. So, having spoken about all this, we also need to talk about what are the risk involved. What's the negative effects of not having investments or not planning at all financially, just like what Ada asked. Like that question brings us to this next slide. So what are those things that you think you stand at risk of if you don't have a proper financial planning? So there's the longevity risk. Earlier on when I was talking about the stages of the wealth cycle, I spoke about accumulation, pre-retirement, which is the preservation, and then the distributing of assets. This longevity risk is saying that if the person lives long and the person did not plan properly for their finances, there's a risk that they will outlive their assets. Meaning, if they manage to buy a house and they did not do all that planning to probably, there's a possibility that they will use up all their money. Let's even assume they didn't buy a house. They've been renting and they are still alive. They retire. They can't earn again. Let's assume they can't earn again. There's a possibility that they will use up the money that they have left in their account to be able to survive, and they will even finish it and they'll still have needs to take care of. So in order to prevent that, it's always good to have a financial plan. The second one is inflation risk. So inflation is when the cost, there's how do I put it now? There's limited resource and the price of goods and commodities are high. So the purchasing power is lower, but then the 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 price of those goods are high, too high to be purchased, or excessively high and can only be purchased by a few category of people. That's the basic way I can explain it. So if you don't invest your money, if you put 5 naira inside, for example, your piggy bank, right, or your savings account, and you did not invest it, it will just remain 5 naira. But when you want to go and use it in the market and inflation has caught up with it, you realize that maybe as at the time you put that 5 naira, you could buy 5 lollipop, for example. And then in the next 2 years, you go back and you pick that 5 naira, you want to go to the market. You realize that because of inflation, so the prices of goods and services has increased, unreasonably. You realize that that 5 naira can no longer buy 5 lollipop, but can only buy 2. So it is always good to invest so that it multiplies the money. Even if it doesn't cater for everything, you might realize that because you invested, what you got from the investment of 5 naira, you're able to still buy maybe 4 or the same 5. Do you understand? So inflation risk is there. There's also liquidity risk, flexibility to access cash. You have to have a proper financial planning. That's why I said it's good to have emergency fund, from the question that I think Osinachi asked. You should be able to have an emergency fund, not that you tie everything and then when you need money you're stranded. You should do your plan in a way that it structures all of these things. So you have to have access to cash as well. There's the market risk. If you don't have a proper financial planning, you don't speak to a financial expert from time to time, you would realize that by the time you are coming to speak to the financial expert, probably your stock that you bought at 1 naira had moved to 18 naira, but because you did not know, you did not sell it, and it went back to 1 naira again. So performance of investment in the financial markets can be like this. So you have to keep checking from time to time. There's the political risk. If you don't have a proper financial plan, you could be stranded as a result of political instability or policies. So they come today, they just bring a policy, next tomorrow they change the policy, and it's affecting your investment. So but if you have a proper financial plan, it can cater to that. Then also there's health risk. When you begin to grow, you attain certain age. By the time you attain the age of retirement, by God's grace, some people are exposed to health risk because of old age. So there are certain things that they have to cater for. They have to do particularly because of their age. And as a result, if you didn't have a proper financial plan, begin to become a burden or a bother to your extended family or friends and family, which I said earlier when Ada asked that we don't want to do that, but in the event that that's the only option, right? So you have to be able to cater for things like that. Health, this is the investment I want to put to cater for this. Even if it's health insurance you want to put in place, you put that in place. It's a financial plan because your money goes into it, right? Then you also have, you can say, okay, vacation, things like that. You must be able to structure your portfolio in a way that would suit you. So I have an icebreaker. Let's quickly get to it so that we can quickly meet up with time because we are running out. So how can you earn money? I know we spoke about it a bit. I want to be sure that we are following. And yes, how can you earn money? Who wants to go first? Osinachi, Enimoyam, okay, Kamsi, Ada. Okay, who is going first? Who? Let me hear Kamsi because I've not heard him today. So yes, Kamsi, please go on.
All right, good evening, ma'am. So
Good evening.
the ways that you can earn money through competitions. You can earn
Aha.
money by using your skills to impact people. You can earn money
Yeah.
as a gift. You can earn money for working, like doing stuff around the house or helping
Mm-hmm.
people. And you can earn money through like,
Kamsi, remain small for them now. Remain small.
all right.
If you answer everything, Ada, you see, Ada is already saying, Ada, he mentioned one of the things you wanted to talk about. Don't worry, you can say it again, it's fine. Oh yeah, say it. I should have taken others first before Kamsi. So sorry. Oh yeah, say what you were going to say, Ada.
So a way to earn money is you
Yeah.
can earn money doing like doing competitions in the house, like doing chores in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also earn money by starting your own business, being an entrepreneur and employee.
Yeah.
You can also
Uh-uh.
earn money
Big
by
moves.
getting a job in an office which they pay you salary. So, but it will be better to be an entrepreneur than being an employee.
I hope you've not said everything. This business mogul we have here. I hope you've not said everything. And now Annie is wondering what would she say. All right, Annie Moriam, let's hear you. I hope she has not said everything. Has she said what you wanted to say?
No,
Okay,
no.
please go ahead.
Okay. When you go for competitions and win cash prizes,
Yeah.
and like she also said one of the things I was going to say,
All right.
doing
All right.
chores
So
in the house.
yes, doing chores in the house. And even games. Games, right? Do you guys play
Yeah.
games at home with your siblings and daddy and mommy? Like from time to
Yes.
time. Of course, it's not every day, but yeah. So I know some of those things as well.
Yes.
So okay. Was Osinachi saying something? Okay, Annie, you want to say something?
I said yes, ma.
Oh, okay. That's good. Okay, so Kamsi and Ada, it seems like I caught you guys short. Do you still have more things to say outside what has been mentioned before we go to the next slide?
I have a question.
Please go ahead.
So I have a small business that I run, and I think I'm ready to like start investing with. So do you know if there's a way I can start investing now with like smaller money, like 100, like 50K, 100K, 200K or
Of
something
course,
around?
we'll get there. So the money market that I spoke about earlier, the minimum investment sum is 10,000.
Okay.
10,000. So the only thing is with just like for stock market, I always say, or we always say that the stock market is a number game, meaning if you have 1,000 units of a particular stock, if they declare dividend of 2 naira, if you multiply that 2 naira by 1,000 units, it means you only have 2,000 naira. If you had 100,000 units of that stock and they declare 2 naira, when you multiply it, it's 200,000 naira, which is a lot. So the only thing is that the more units you have for stock, the more return you have, whether by way of capital appreciation or otherwise. Same thing for fixed income. The amount and the tenor determines your return. So if you are investing, imagine you're investing a 10,000 naira and you multiply it with 18% per annum, what you may get might not be so tangible. You might be like, it's discouraging, but it's usually better to start that way because it helps you to discipline yourself. Then gradually you begin to build your portfolio. So yes, you can invest. You can do stocks. Stocks as well is 10,000 naira minimum. You can still diversify depending on what you want, just to test the waters and see what it's like. So yes, there are investment options for you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. And also, are there sites that can like also explain these things more deeply to me that I can go and start learning from?
Yeah. So I could, for stock markets, I could share a particular site with you, just for you to be able to search to know certain things about the company you want to invest in. You look at what their return has been, their performance has been over the years, maybe 5 years. What dividend have they been giving? Are they a dividend paying stock? And then I could also give you a skeletal approach, or I'll give you some information about it, maybe outside this session, so that we don't drag everyone behind. Then
All
there
right,
are some
thank you.
other slides that also touches on some things, so I'll probably speak to it more. Then
Okay, thank you.
I could share a weekly stock recommendation. Like where I work, we have a platform that allows you to trade by yourself if you want. So you can always set up your account from that place, buy and sell yourself if you want to. Haven't looked at what our recommendations are, and also the additional sites that will give you, where you can actually check what those stock perform, how they've performed over the years. Then for the money markets, we also have a separate app for that as well, where you can invest and you can monitor it. So we can speak about it afterwards. All right, dear.
All right, thank
Okay,
you.
my absolute pleasure. You're welcome, Kamsi. So let's move on. Now, what is investing or investment? Even if you can't put it exactly, I just want, what comes to mind when you hear investment, investing? What comes to your mind? Anybody, everybody, in short. Just say what comes to your mind. I don't want to believe there are wrong answers. From the contributions I've had, you guys are really smart. All right, go on, Enimoyam.
I'm trying.
Try. It's good to try.
Budgeting.
Budgeting. That's good. Yeah. Can we have more words? Where's Osinachi?
Please,
More
what's the
words.
question?
Okay, so when you hear investment or investing, what comes to your mind? What do you think of? Can you see my screen? Have you heard the word investment or investing before? What comes to your mind when you hear the word? Yeah. So Enimoyam said budgeting, right? So let's hear what others think. Ada, go ahead, please.
What I think it means is, means when I hear investing, what comes up to my mind is storing up for emergency, storing up for later.
Okay, that's about it as well. That's about it. Just taking it a notch further. Okay, thank you so much, Ada. Kamsi, let's have you. Please, if you've made your contribution, don't forget to lower your hand. Thank you. Yes, Kamsi.
Okay, so when I hear investments, I think of putting your money in like a system where it makes more money for you.
Fantastic. Great contributions. Any other person before I move on? So I don't. Okay. Thank you so much for your contributions. They are lovely. So budgeting has a way it comes into investment. If you don't budget, you'll probably not be able to invest. Storing up for emergency, it's also, it has its way of playing also in the investment. It's just that you also have to store up to be able to, you now have to store up and then put it somewhere to generate a return. So yes, fantastic responses. Thank you so much. So let me let me use this one as this picture. I don't know if you guys can see it. It looks like a plant is growing out of money. So let's use that picture to just paint a picture in our mind. So investing is basically trying to grow or multiply your wealth, right? A lot of times when you hear the word, these are common words that would be associated with it. Money, savings, like Ada said, there's profits, like I think Kamsi said something around that. There's wealth, there's finance. These are common words that would likely be associated with it. Now, the meaning. So I was able to coin different definitions of it. The first one, I said, it is an act that makes your dreams a reality through the sacrifice of putting your savings to good use. So there are so many elements here. Your dream, you have dreams. Even as you are right now, you have dreams. I want to become a pilot. I want to become a wealthy person. I don't want to trek. I want to drive. I want to drive a Benz. You have dreams, and investing is an act that makes that dream a reality. But it makes it a reality through sacrifice of putting your savings to good use. So you have to be able to put the savings you've stock or stack your funds, and then you put it in a place, safe hands, that knows how to put that money to use to be able to give you a return or profit on it. It is also a tool that gives a return on your savings. So I think that also touches on what Kamsi had said. So it is a tool that gives a return on your savings. It is also putting time, effort, money into something so it can grow. Sometimes you may not even put money. It might just be time and effort. Imagine you're investing in a skill. If it's not financial investments, imagine you're just learning it. So it might be time and effort. It might be a free course you didn't have to pay. It might just be the maybe subscription and all of that. So putting time, effort, money into something so it can grow in value, just like the picture that we saw earlier. So it grows in value or in income for intangible and tangible assets. For intangible and tangible assets. So let's say you are learning the skill, let's say communication skills. You're learning communication skills. You want to be able to take presentations without fidgeting. You want to be able to speak to the crowd and, your feet is not shaking, right? So you're learning how to also communicate in a way that the person you're communicating to or with comprehends, not just listens, but they understand what you intended them to understand. So you're learning intangible asset of communication skills. And if it's tangible, you invested, let's use Kamsi as an example, 100K, and you get 20K, for example. So that is it's a tangible money. He can withdraw it and put it into something else again. So fourth definition, I said, according to Kids Wordsmith Dictionary, it is to put into use for the purpose of making money. So the end goal for them is to make money. Whether you're learning a skill, whether you're investing in an intangible asset, or an intangible thing, it's the end result is to make money. All right. Then the last one, investing is the next level to savings in the financial hierarchy. So I know that Mrs. Mary Beth already taught you all about, having to save, put money aside, which is the basics. So you have a bank account, for example, you have your savings put in there, So now when you want to take that savings to the next level, having disciplined yourself to now save, you now take it to the next level of having to put that money somewhere where you can get return. It's not just sitting there lying fallow for those who do agriculture. So that is investing. So let's move to the next slide. So we take savings and investment together. So we take savings and investment together, and we're saying, okay, They sound similar, right? They sound similar, but there are slight differences to them. So for savings, you know that for savings, like I explained, you are stacking money for future or target use. So sometimes you're just saving it. I want to buy a fridge, or I want to buy a Nike sneakers. So you're saying, okay, I put 10,000 today, tomorrow I put 5,000. So you're just stacking it for a particular use. Sometimes there's no use if you're just stacking it. But investment is now putting that money you are stacking to yield reward or buy assets. And you are buying that. So for savings, the target end, it might not always be asset. So it might not always be that, oh, I want to save the money to put it in money market or the stock market. It might just mean that I want to save money to buy sneakers. And if you've had sneakers can be a need and it can be a want. So if it's a need, if it's a want, in that instance, it might not exactly be like an asset, right? So yeah. So, but investment, the end goal is always for you to be able to get reward and also to put to get assets. Yes, please, Enimoyam.
Please, how is a
I'm
sneaker?
getting your name correctly.
Yes.
All right, dear. Please go ahead.
How is a sneaker a need and a want?
Okay, so shoe. So if, for example, you don't have a shoe, you know, if you have to walk bare feet, imagine your school is 2 houses away from you and you don't have a shoe and you have to go bare feet to school. At a point, your feet will begin to tear and it might affect you health-wise, right? So you need a shoe.
Yeah.
So that's how it can be a need, right? And then you have sports. You guys have sports time in school, right? Sometimes you can't use your school shoe for your sports time. You may need a sneakers or a sports shoe for your sports time, so you don't spoil your school shoe. So that's a need, right? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
when you've had, let's say, 10 different sneakers, but you just want a game, then it could, and they are all in good shape, lovely colors, different designs, but you just want to keep having them. And it's not like you are giving the ones you even had before out. Then it can be a want. Are we good?
But
Go ahead, darling.
okay. But let's say your uncle promised to buy you one again,
Mm-hmm.
and your father said that you buy it because that time your uncle was not feeling well, and your father did not buy it, and you started saving money to buy it for your own self. So is it a need or a want?
So it goes back again to what I said. It's a different thing if someone wants to gift you. You remember where we were talking about making money, managing money? You know, I said we have to be sincere with ourselves.
Yes.
Okay. And that described to us that a nice to have is a want. So it would be nice if you have an additional new design of Nike. Probably it's 2024 design. But is it really, really necessary? Right? Is it really necessary? So that's what you should also look at. That's the denominator, the underlying question you should always ask. Is it really a need? Is it that if you don't get that shoe, you will not be able to go about your normal duties normally? Or do you understand what I mean? So it's a different thing if you are gifted. Of course, it's a gift. You can't say, oh, this gift is a want. No, it's a gift. You accept it. But you having to buy on, instead of doing that, you put that money into investing or into sharpening your skills. Do you understand, darling?
Yes.
All right. Okay, let's have Ada. Can you
Thank
lower your
you.
hands anymore? Thank God, you're
My
welcome.
what I wanted to ask
Yes, please.
is kind of related to what Animoyan said.
Okay.
Like, what if all of your shoes are like you actually need them and you want them? Well, but let me use another example. So you don't have anything to eat for dinner and you really want
Sorry, I just
Indomie.
saw Enemuyam's comment saying that time is moving. Oh, you people are the one asking the questions. Okay, please go on. Sorry to cut you, Ada.
So
Ada, please
if
go on.
you want to have Indomie and you don't have any food in the house, but you're available to go and buy spaghetti. So which one can you buy?
Wait, come again.
So like you want Indomie
You want
and there's no
Indomie
food
and
in
there's no
your
food in the house. Okay.
and another available option that is closer to your house is spaghetti. So which one can you get?
Whatever is closer, if you know that you can walk the mile to go and get the Indomie, you can walk the mile. It's your option. If you look at it, so imagine you getting back from church today, tired, and there's no food in the house, but spaghetti is just 2 houses away. You can buy it from there, and Indomie is 10 houses away. You would rather go to the 2 houses away, except you have the strength. Sometimes our desires actually fuel us, or the passion, yeah, it fuels us, so you're able to walk the mile to actually go and get what you want. Because if you buy the spaghetti, for some people, they eat the spaghetti, they won't derive satisfaction from it. So for that one, I think it's just your choice that would play out, because the bottom line is it's food, and if you've not eaten that day, it's food and it's a necessity. So either would do. All right, so can we move on? Okay, so I saw that someone was asking the difference between if savings and investment are the same. So I've already taken the first points, which makes them different. So savings, you are just stacking up the money. Investment, you are putting it to use so that it can also grow wealth for you. Then second, savings has little or no risk. Imagine you have a piggy bank in the house, except God forbid, if someone steals it. It's just there. There's no risk. Nobody's going to carry it. You get. But for investment, there are different risks. There are different risks. Like the one I explained with the stock market. You can buy a stock at a particular price, and the next 2 weeks, in short 2 days, the stock price may go down. But it might not also be it might also mean that because it has gone down, the next thing is sell it. It could also mean that yes, there's probably a news around it that made it go down and it will still go back up. So there are different risks. There's low, medium, and high. That was why I told you guys that you have to be able to identify what your risk appetite is so that you can invest based on that. Then third difference, funds are easily accessible. So imagine you kept money in the bank or in the piggy bank. You can easily walk there and say, give me my money, I'm not doing again. You can easily have access and say, give me, I just want to go and buy lollipop. So yes, it's really accessible. But for investment, except you're doing something like a money market, you can't, even for stocks, when you buy the shares and you sell it, if you decide to sell at a loss, for example, or sell whether at a profit, there's something we call T+3. It means that the value for the stock would only come at transaction day plus 3 working days. So if you sold it on a Monday, transaction day is Monday. Then you now count 3 working days, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Now, in Nigeria, June 12th is public holiday. So Wednesday is a public holiday. So if you have to count it, you say Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. It means till Friday before you get your funds. So investments usually have minimum holding period, and they have some policies around them, that guides them, or features of the investment, unlike savings, is easily accessible. Then mostly savings does not have a minimum savings sum. You can start with 1 naira if there's coins. You can start with 2 naira, 50 kobo, whatever it is. But investment most times has a minimum investment sum, right? There's a minimum investment sum. Then examples of the savings is piggy bank, fixed deposits with the bank, then Ajo. How many of us know Ajo? Have you ever heard of it before? Thrift savings. Kamsi, have you heard of thrift savings before?
Sorry, ma, repeat.
Have you heard of thrift savings before?
No, I
Ajo.
haven't.
Ajo. Okay, you've not heard of it. So let me explain it to you. So it's like saying that everybody that belongs to this this membership class, the let's say Ada, Kamsi, Enimoyam, Osinachi, you guys come together and you say, because you want to save money, because Kamsi wants to start investing, but he probably hasn't been able to gather a sizable amount. So he decides that the 4 of you should start dropping 10,000 every month. So all of you will drop 10,000 this month, and you would have stated that the first person that will pack all that 10,000 that you guys gather might be Kamsi. Oh yes.
My mom has mentioned it a couple of times.
I was going to wonder whether he doesn't know his susu. He doesn't know.
That's what you call it. It's not Ajo. I was wondering.
Sorry. Okay, so I call it Ajo. I know it's susu too. It's true. People call it susu. So you see, so the next person taking the money might be Ada. So Ada has already planned that 40,000. Once she collects it like this, she wants to go and learn how to make hair, or how to sew, or how to do makeup, or how to tie gele. So she collects the money, she does that. But the fact that you collected the money does not mean you will not still pay, because people contributed for your own. So you have to contribute for others too. So in the end, you realize that it's still the same 40K you've contributed, but you had access to that money before time. Do you understand? So that's what Ajo is. So that's an example of savings. It's just that it's not yielding any interest. However, on our platform, we have a structure like that allows people to come together to save for a cause and do something like that thrift. And at the same time, it has a little bit of return on it. Then for investments, examples are stocks, like I've talked about. Stocks and shares are the same thing. T-bills, that's treasury bills, the federal government initiative for investments, like debt instruments, money markets, etc. So let's move straight to the next one. Forms or types of investments, right? So we have mutual fund. Mutual fund is the umbrella name for money market. So under mutual fund, we have money market, we have equity, we have money market, and we have equity fund. So just know that when you hear mutual fund, whether by way of money market or equity, it is saying that it is different types of investment they put under one, and they are giving you a return on it. That's just what mutual fund is. They did different types of investment, and they are giving you a share of the return on it. So for mutual fund, we have money market. That's the one that looks more like the fixed income sort of. It looks like the fixed income type of it, of the mutual fund. While for the equity fund, it's a basket, but everything they bought under that basket is only stocks. There's no other thing in it. It's only stocks. So they may now buy different types of stocks, so different types of shares. Shares is the representation of your holding in a company, and it is also the multiplying effect for your dividend. Your dividend is like is a share of the profits that they share or that they give to the shareholders. So if Enimoyam buys a share, which is a representation of her holding in a company, she becomes a shareholder. And when they declare profits, let's say they declare profits and they decide to share part of that profit, they can decide that every shareholder will get 2 naira for each unit of shares that they have. So if Enimoyam has 1,000 units, it will be 1,000 times 2 naira, which is 2,000 naira. So the equity fund is only shares, different types of shares. Dangote Sugar, Transcorp, Dangote Cement, MTN Nigeria, different types of it. But equity fund is a basket of all of that shares. Then the return on it will be given to investors like you and I who invest in that space. Then we have real estate as well. People invest in real estate, right? Because part of the things that people say about real estate is that it is an asset that doesn't depreciate or rarely depreciates. Then we have bonds. Bonds are also debt instruments. There's a borrower that comes to the market and say, I'm looking for money. Please, you guys should borrow me money. If you borrow me this money, in the next 6 months, I'm going to give you 13%. But most times, bonds are not for months. It's usually for years. So you would have a bond that is like 2 years, 3 years. There's FGN savings bond. The minimum investment for that one is 5,000 naira. So with 5,000 naira, you have invested and you keep the money for the next 2 years. Then they'll give you interest on it quarterly. Then we have agriculture as well. People invest in agriculture. Enimoyam, you also say something?
Yes.
Please go ahead. I just saw your hand raised. Sorry, pardon me.
Why do people come and borrow in the market?
Thank you for that question. So imagine that the federal government, right, wants to build roads and they don't have all the money because they've invested most of their money in things that will give them return, not in the near term, but in the long term. So they need funds to borrow to be able to fix the road so that we can ply on it and not be susceptible to accidents. So they come to the market and they borrow from us. Sometimes too, it might be because there's too much money in circulation. The federal government might decide to say, okay, let's issue a bond so that people would drop, we can collect that money from them and reduce.
Is that why people pay taxes?
Is that why people pay taxes?
Yes.
So taxes, well, tax is like your own return. It's like a return you are giving to the federal government also to contribute to the things that they have to do in the country, right? They use the tax to be able to build the country. But if they've not gotten enough to cater for the things that they have to do, they have to resort to other options like the bond. So that's for federal government. Look at it. Let's assume that your daddy has a company and his company does construction. They get contracts to execute from different ministries. And suddenly, your dad wants to execute a project and he needs funds to start it because the people who have given him this contract said they'll pay him later on when the project has started already. So he can come to the market and say, please, I want to issue a commercial paper. In his case, it will be a commercial paper because it's short term. He'll say, okay, I want to borrow money from people. Give me this money. I'll give you so return on it. He would have factored that into the amount that people will be paying him, the people who gave him that contract. Right. So most times people borrow because there's a need for it. There's a need, there's a project they want to finance, there's a project they need to execute, and they don't have enough funds in the bank account for.
But people just lie. People just buy and take the money, but they don't pay back. So why would you believe them?
Okay, so when you come to this type of market, so it's not the scenario you are giving is more like where you have family and friends borrow from you, right? This kind of place, when you come to borrow, there are so many things they factor into it. They'll do a credit rating to look at your record. Have you ever borrowed before? When you borrowed, did you return it? They will check all those things before they will allow you to be telling people to come and borrow you money. Do you understand? Then they also check the earnings of the company. If what the person said he wants to use the money for is something that can generate such money back, then the person will also give them like an asset, like a collateral, saying, if I'm not able to pay this money, you'll sell this property and pay all these people back. Do you understand? So it's not like that one where you just borrow and there's nothing that can help you guarantee the money returning back. Yeah.
Okay, but let's say you have already checked everything and the person borrowed from you, but did not return it that time.
It's not possible. If such a thing happens, then there are people we call regulators. They are like the police officers that watch over this type of transactions. So they will definitely swing into action if such a thing happens. They will go after the debtor and the assets of the debtor. Yes. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right, darling. So we have.
Thank you.
Thank God, you're welcome. So we have stocks. I already explained that stocks and shares are the same, and it is a representation of your ownership in a company. Okay. Enimuyam, your mic is not muted. Oh, sorry, Ada. You have a question. I'm so sorry. You have a question, right? Because your hand is raised. Or is it an old one?
No.
Okay, please go ahead, darling. I'm sorry. I'm just saying it. Pardon me, please.
My question is about borrowing.
Borrowing. Okay,
If
go on
you
then.
borrow money from someone and
Yeah.
you say, I'll give you back at this time, would they still allow you to borrow the money? Because my brother told me that there was one day that at school that someone gave him money. I think it was something else. That he said that as the days go by, that they should be adding to it. So I wanted to ask if that applies when you're borrowing money. For example, like
Yes.
borrow 500 for someone on June 17th, and then on September 17th, you come back and they say that you have to pay them 20,000 for the 500 that you borrowed because of the time.
So yeah. So thank you so much, Ada, for that question. So that's what plays out when you borrow money, especially in this corporate structure. When you borrow money, there are usually terms to it. If you are borrowing for 90 days, the person would have told you that this is what you pay him for parting with their money for 90 days. If you are borrowing for 182, this is what you pay me back for that period that you are borrowing money from me. So yes, there's always a structure. It's only when we are just borrowing from friends and family, oftentimes, that you would realize that we don't write a contract. There's no legal binding. We just said it over a piece of cake. Oh, please give me money now. Please, I'll give you back. And then when the person does not give us back, it's difficult, except maybe you now involve an older person, your guardian or your teacher or your parents, to now enforce such a child to return the money. Do you understand? I don't know if that answers your question.
It just, thank you.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. So let's move. I've spoken to treasury bills. I said treasury bills. So like bonds, treasury bills is similar to bond. You're also using it to borrow money. The only difference is that for the treasury bills, it is usually under 1 year. So the highest tenor you would find is 1 year. But for bonds, is above 1 year. Pardon me, excuse me. Is usually above 1 year. Could be 2 years, could be 3 years, could be 5 years, could be 10 years that you are using to tie the person's money down. So, but for treasury bills, it's under 1 year and it has 3 tenors: 91 days, 182 days, 364 days. And it is federal government you are dealing with. And oftentimes, it gives you the option of either collecting your money, your interest upfront. So if you drop 1 million and your interest is meant to be 10,000 naira, 100,000 naira, you can tell them to pay you that 100,000 within 24 hours. Instead of you waiting for 1 year before you can collect the 100,000 and the 1 million together. So, and again, treasury bills are usually issued by only the federal government. These will usually say sovereign bills. It's the federal government that issues it. But bonds, even a company can issue it. But what a company issues that is under 1 year also to borrow money is called a commercial paper. I didn't write it here, but it's called a commercial paper. Then we also have dollar fund. Moyam, you want to say something?
Yes. Like from what you are saying, like when you are saying it's like treasury bills and bonds are the same. So what's the difference?
Yes, they are similar. So, but the difference is this: bonds can be issued by corporates. So a company like Dangote Sugar that is not a government, he can issue bond. That's one. Meanwhile, treasury bills are only issued by the federal government. Only the federal government issues treasury bills. Then again, bonds are usually long term. It's usually above 1 year. So you have terms like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but treasury bills is usually under 1 year. So the tenor you have is 91 days, that's like 3 months, 182 days, which is like 6 months, and 364 days, which is like 1 year. So the tenor is not usually above 1 year for treasury bills. Then thirdly, for bonds, most times the payment of your return on the investment can be paid quarterly or biannually or at maturity. Meaning, if you're supposed to collect 300,000 naira as your return on the investment per year, they'll pay you 100K every quarter. Or if you're supposed to collect 400K, they'll pay you 100K every quarter. That's how it works. But for treasury bills, you have the option of saying, pay me my money within 24 hours. The interest that I would have gotten. Instead of me waiting for 1 year before I collect it, please give me in 24 hours so that I can use it to sort out some other things like maybe house rent or education or something like that. So I don't know if that's clear, Nimuyam.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, so we have dollar fund. Thank God, you're welcome. So we have dollar fund. Dollar fund is also an investment that is based on dollars. It is an investment that is based on dollars. And then we have Euro bond, also an investment based on dollars. I wouldn't go into details. Then we have education. It's also a form of investment. So let's move quickly because we are on slide 10. Okay, do we have everybody here? Okay.
Yeah, we have those that have been here. Yeah, that's to catch the replay. Go ahead.
Okay, so the question is, what happens if you spend more money than you earn or you have? What do you think will happen to you if you spend more money than you earn or you have? Who wants to go first? Ada, yes. Can I see your face?
I think that if you spend more money than you have or than you earn, I think that you'll be bankrupt and you end up in that situation where you can't even get what you need because you are spending all your money on what you wanted.
Great, fantastic answer. And then it takes us back to that risk that we spoke about earlier, where I said you can outlive your house assets. It means that you would have finished spending all of the money that you have, and there's nothing, just like you explained, there's nothing to take care of your need. Absolutely nothing, you know. So any other person? Okay, I said what happens if you spend more money than you earn or you have?
Okay. What happens if you spend more money than you have is that people will think that you'll be very rich and you'll be buying a lot of things that, let's say, at the end of the month, you like your electricity bills and your other type of bills you can't pay.
Yeah, yeah. So you are basically trying to live large. You're presenting a different personality out there, but you, in the actual sense, when we look at your financial books, you can't even take care of your needs. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. So let's move swiftly. So please lower your hand if you've made your contribution. So what are the major reasons for investing? Why do we invest? So I've highlighted some reasons here. Of course, reasons can be beyond this. It doesn't mean that it's only restricted to just this, but I just highlighted 5. So the first thing is capital appreciation, and I'll use stocks or money markets, either ways, to be able to explain it. So let's say you bought a share at 20 naira per share of Dangote Sugar, and then 6 months down the line after buying it, you checked the stock market and Dangote Sugar is now doing 25 naira per share. Is doing 25 naira per share. So it means that your capital that you invested, if it was even only one share you bought, 20 naira, the capital has appreciated. It has grown by 5 naira. So that is what we call capital appreciation. So we invest so that the capital we put there can have an extra on it. You remember when I was explaining about inflation and I said, if inflation catches up with your funds in savings, you realize that your purchasing power has been reduced. So you go to the market with the same 5 naira, but you can no longer buy 5 lollipop. You can only buy 2. So the reason why you are investing is so that it helps to bridge that gap. It makes your capital to appreciate and increase your purchasing power. Then, next point is dividend yield. So what is dividend? Dividend is the profit that is shared to mostly shareholders after the company has declared profit. So a company can run its business and declare either profit or loss. If the business didn't perform well, they'll declare a loss. And if there's a loss, they will not give dividends. But where the company has been able to run the business well and they've made profits, they will declare what we call dividend. And for people who have shares, they can get both dividend and still enjoy capital appreciation. So let's go back to our example. You bought it at 20 naira, it appreciated by 5 naira, 6 months down the line, it's become 25 naira. Now, this Dangote Sugar still declared dividend 7 months after you bought the shares, and they declared 1 naira per share. So it means that you've been able to make an extra 1 naira. If you decide to sell it after you collect the dividend, you probably have made, if the stock price does not go down, you would have made 5 naira by way of capital appreciation, and you also made 1 naira by way of dividend yield based on the profits that company made. Then the third reason is legacy. When we're talking about outliving your assets, the ideal situation is that when people grow, they have assets that they can pass to their loved ones. So I can pass these assets to my children. In the case that anything happens, my children can, you know, enjoy the benefits of the assets that I built over the years. So that's what legacy is, something you can pass on to your loved ones should in case anything happens. So people invest so that they have something to pass on. They out they are the assets are there even while they are gone. There are things that keep speaking. Some people have charitable legacy. So they set up something, they invest in it so that they're able to fund and run their charitable cause even when they are no longer on planet Earth. That legacy continues. All right, let's have you, Enimoyam.
My question is that when you invest, how do you like pass it on?
Okay, so how you pass it on is through a process we call estate planning tool or transfer of assets tool. So there's something, have you heard of a will before? Or maybe watched something around that in a movie, a will. When they say someone
Uh,
writes a will, exactly. That's an estate planning tool. So people write wills so that they can pass it on. So if they had an investment, for example, with Meristem, they can say, oh, if Mr. Ben dies, please pass my investment of 20 million naira in Meristem to my nephew, John Wood. Do you understand? So they can write a will to transfer it. They can also do what we call a trust. A trust is like an arrangement that appoints a neutral third party to transfer the assets. So they can have a living trust where they set up a trust, a legal document saying that while this 20 million is with Meristem, please let all the returns on this 20 million be coming to me while I'm alive. Then Mr. Ben will say, but if after a period something happens to me, please let this investment and the return on it begin to go to his daughter, Janet. Do you understand? So you can use legal tools to transfer your assets, your investment to another person. Is that okay, Animoya?
yes.
Thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Thank God, you're welcome. Okay, so the next reason for investing is collateral for loan. So people use it. So when you go to the bank or any financial institution to take loan, you say, please, I want to take a loan, give me 500 million. Nobody will want to give you that amount if you don't have something that you are saying, okay, in case I'm not able to pay this 500 million, take this property and sell it. Nobody will give it to you. So when you have investment, that investment can serve as collateral. That's what we call collateral. So it's something that can be transformed to offset the debt that you acquire. So if, for example, someone went to collect the money for a car and then you gave the person your investment, you say, I have stocks so worth 100 million with Meristem stockbrokers. If anything happens, you can sell it. So it means that stocks is standing as collateral for the loan. So if the person is unable to pay, you can go and sell the shares and you get your money back. So it serves as collateral for loan. And the last reason, which is what we've been discussing all around, is financial security. So that you don't become someone who spends more than they earn or more than they have. So when you invest, you have financial security, you have your emergency fund, nothing catches you too much by surprise. Even if it's something that outweighs what you can take care of, at least you have some part of the funds that you need for it. So the next thing we'll be looking at is financial markets. Financial markets. I was speaking about the money market, all of those. So there are different types of finance. So, and the way it is divided is based on different things. The financial market space is divided based on different things. The first way it is divided is the mode of issuing. How was that instrument, the financial instrument we are talking about, how was it issued? Was it issued in the primary market or the secondary market? If we are going by mode of issuing, then we have two markets, the primary market and the secondary market. The primary market is the market where an instrument or a stock is issued for the very first time. It is issued there for the very first time. So in that place, it is usually the person that issued it, let's say, is a debt instrument. So it is the debtor and the investors that have an interface. And whatever money they raise from there, it goes back to the person who is the debtor in quotes that said they needed money. You understand? But for the secondary market, the interface is usually between an investor and another investor. So most times people who have already bought by way of primary market, they'll bring those things to the secondary market to sell it. So you hear things like second hand. That might just be a way of trying to also explain it. So it is not the first, you didn't buy it directly from the person who issued it, the issuer or the debtor. You bought it from another investor. So let's say I bought Dangote Sugar shares, and later Kamsi comes and he says he wants to buy Dangote Sugar shares. But at this time that he's saying he wants to buy it, Dangote is not issuing new shares. So he can't buy directly from them. So he has to buy from me or any other investor in the secondary market. So that's the difference between primary market and secondary market. The second thing is the time horizon. So what is the time frame of the instrument that was issued? The debt instrument or the type of investment? What is the tenor? If it is under 1 year, like I've said before, it should be a money market. But if it is above 1 year, for example, when people invest in the stock market, we tell them that they should always have it at the back of their mind that it's a long-term investment. However, anything can happen in the short term, but it's a long-term investment. So if that's the type of investment you did, then it should be a capital market because it's long-term. The third way of classifying is what is traded. So we have equities and we have fixed income. So equities is when it is shares that we are talking about. But fixed income is when it is something like you drop your money, you know what your interest is, you know that your principal is coming back to you. That's fixed income. But when you buy shares, then it is equities. So what is traded, what you are investing in determines the classification. If it is by that way, then it will be equities and fixed income markets. Then how are the funds raised? We have debt and we have equity. So the debt is the one where we have bonds as well. And then equity is the one where it is the shares or ownership in the company. We are about rounding up and I'm so happy. So this slide talks about the different financial institutions we have. We have commercial banks. So commercial banks is the likes of UBA, Zenith Bank, GT Bank, all of those banks. I don't know what popular bank we have in Ghana. Enimuyam, do you want to tell us one? What bank do you know that's in Ghana that's popular?
Ecobank.
Ecobank, nice. We have Ecobank here too. So you see, that's an example of a commercial bank. Then we have mortgage banks. Mortgage banks are banks that they usually give loans.
Zenith Bank.
Sorry?
Zenith Bank.
Zenith Bank, great. Zenith Bank is also here. So the next type of financial institution, we have the mortgage bank. Mortgage banks usually they give loans for people who are interested in real estate structures most times. So you want to buy a land, you want to buy a house, So they pay for you, and then you begin to reimburse them for that payment that they made for you to purchase the house. Then we have pension fund administrators. This is a contributory scheme to ensure that when you retire, you have something that you earn, so that you not become a total burden to maybe your children or your ward. So the government do contribute from your income, and also depending on the scheme that is obtainable. Here you contribute, they take a certain amount from your income every month, and then your employer also contributes certain amount from as well. So the two will be put with the pension fund administrators, and then at your retirement, they'll begin to pay you a stipend from it. So it gives you opportunity to still earn if you've been working, so that you are able to still earn at retirement. Then the next point is investment banks and firms, which is where Meristem falls under, right? So investment banks and firms, we have the likes of Meristem. These are licensed investment firms. They help you manage your fund in a way that you can get return, and they also make money from it, right? And then when people also say that they need financial advisory, the investment bank and firms also cater to that. Then when people also say they want to come and raise money in the market, either by way of bonds or commercial paper, they are also able to structure that particular instrument for that person. They also give business advisory and the likes. Then the last one, we have insurance companies. Insurance companies provide risk coverage. So for example, you can decide to insure your car, so that if it has an accident, instead of taking money from your investment to go and fix the car, you just basically take you speak to the insurance company where you already had the car insurance, and they foot the bills. Either you guys split the bills, or they have a way of settling, or they'll offset all the bills. So that's for financial institutions. And last point, actionable steps. So I'll just run through this quickly. Write a financial vision. Have a financial vision. It helps to guide you. From time to time, you can amend it, but you should have a financial vision and say, okay, by age 20, I want to be able to boast of 500,000. By age this thing, I want to be able to be I want to have a charitable organization, or a charitable this by so age. I want to be able to earn this amount. I want to be able to have these skills to my name. Write a financial vision, then, or plan. Then map out how you want to achieve it. Don't just write it. It's easy to set a vision. It's way more difficult to achieve it. So you have to map out, ask questions, ask people, how you can achieve it. Then do research. Research. You have to research, ask questions, check online, people that invested in stock markets, did they make money? And do they make more money compared to people who invest in the fixed income market? Things like that. Research and ask questions. Then identify the skill you want to hone, the skills that you want to perfect, the one that you feel can be able to generate funds for you. Identify that skill after this class. Identify, think about it, speak to your guardian about it. It's possible for you not to even think that you have a skill that can actually make money. It might be your guardian that will be able to point you in the right direction and say, you love to play football. We could just keep searching out for any football competition so that you can enroll in, and then we see what that will do for you. Then open a bank account. If you don't have one already, you can speak to your guardian or your parents and appeal to them that you'd want to have a bank account. You would want your monies to be going there. At the end of the month, you could do a review on it, check, has it grown? Is it the same? You could just check your statement. Then identify your risk appetite. I've always spoken about that. Know how much you can go when it comes to investment. Don't just delve into it. Know how much you can go. Understand that time is key to investment. For example, if you want to buy shares now, people always buy shares and sell shares, but you need to know what time to buy shares. You must be buying at a time that your entry price gives you enough room for profit margin. Don't just come to the market because people say the market is doing well, the stock market is doing well, and just go and buy shares. No, you might now buy it at a price that it has reached its peak, and the next thing is it will start coming back down in price. So it's better you buy when it is low so that you can now watch it grow over the years, and then it gives you a good profit margin. So you must know that time is always key to investing. There are times where money markets might not perform well. Like I was saying before, that last year it was around 9%, for example. And then this year is doing 18%. So you must be able to know that time is key when you're investing. What is good at the time you want to invest? You must be able to identify that. Speak to a professional about the options available for your investment sum. So the amount you want to invest, the time you want to, how long you want to invest it for, then what is your objective for investing it? You must be able to identify these things and then speak to a professional about it so that the person will give you an option to what you can now invest in. Then, when you want to invest, most investments always have an underlying asset. Yes, Enimuyam, let's have you, please. I can't hear you. You're muted there.
You just said that we should talk to a professional person. What if there's no professional person around you?
Okay,
A
so
time you want to talk to a person.
so you speak to your parents. If there's no professional around, you speak to your parents. Most likely your parents will have somebody that knows someone that is a professional that they can speak to if they cannot answer your question. So let the first point of call for you always be your parents or your guardian. Then they'll be able to guide you properly on who you can then speak with. Is that okay? Yeah.
Thank you.
So, you're welcome, darling. So ask what the underlying asset is. Every investment always has something that is underlying. Most times they have something that is either you are investing in Dangote Sugar, okay, you are investing in a company that does sugar. Okay, you want to invest in money market. Okay, the things they invest in is stocks, stocks, treasury bills, and the likes. Okay, you must know what their underlying asset is. They will call it a name, but you should ask what the underlying asset is, especially for people who like to invest in ethical products. You know, some people don't like to invest in things like that sell, maybe, for example, you want to buy a share. Some people will not want to buy in Nigerian breweries because they produce beer or alcohol. Some Muslims will say they don't want to invest in banks, except it is Jaiz Bank, a Muslim bank or Islamic bank, because they don't know what other banks use their money to do to be able to get return. So you should be able to know the underlying asset if it aligns with your faith and your objective. Then you should invest in a licensed firm with credible rating. So there are so many firms. People will come around and say, I work in so and so, the name of my company is so and so. Make sure they are licensed, either as a bank or even an investment firm like ours. There are regulators for all of this. If you're talking about an investment firm like ours, the regulator is SEC. If you're talking about the loan subsidiary of our firm, that would be the CBN. The CBN that has the license and is the regulator for that. If you're talking about if you're talking about a commercial bank, then it's CBN as well that is the regulator for that. So you must ensure that you invest in a licensed firm with credible rating. Then identify what you want to use the accrued interest and dividend for. So if you invest and you know that you get 10,000 naira back, you must be able to identify what you must be able to identify what you want to use the return for. So if you make money from stock market, oh, I want to put the money in money market so that I have more than one type of investment. Or, oh, I want to use it to pay for learning how to tie daily. You should be able to identify what you want to start using your accrued interest for. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. That'll be all. I hope Mrs. Mary Beth is there. Let me stop sharing now.
All righty, I am here, and this is not just a class for the children. Yeah, this is for all of us. I'm sure their parents will use this more than they will even use it. But it's such, so thank you so much.
Thank God.
Thank you so much, because I think you went all out. You wanted to touch on everything that we needed to know. Even while you're trying to give it, at a level that the children can understand. I think that's really profound. So it simply means that we can always go back and have conversations with this.
Yeah.
So Kamsi is my son, and he's been asking these questions forever. He's been asking these questions of investments forever. And so when you started talking, and he was like, okay, when he started asking the question, I just said, you found who you're looking for.
I can't wait for him to reach out to me. I would be available. I'll guide him through. He can reach out to me tomorrow.
Expect me this holiday, because when I'm done with my exams, I want to learn more and start practicalizing these kind of things. Thank you so much, man.
Wow, my absolute pleasure and delight. And thank you so much, Ma, for what you're doing with the kids. They are so well behaved. Raise hand, lower, and then Miriam is always saying thank you when she's done so. So it's really a great work, and it's been a pleasure actually being here. And when did you say you'll be done with exam, Kamsi?
Somewhere, I think the exam is ending on 26th. Should be.
He's writing junior WAEC,
Oh, great. Best of grace with that.
Thank
So
you,
I'll
ma'am.
just be looking forward to hearing from you. I wish I started that early to start investing. So I think you would actually, that's a good step. Very good step. Very, very good
Thank
step.
you, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right, so we have more people like this. I'm sure as they catch the replay, there are kids that have been asking questions. So this will answer so many questions. And I like the fact that they can always go back to this replay, keep getting answers. Even there are many things I didn't know, many things I didn't have explanation, as in I didn't have like true definitions for. So it is filled in that gap. So even for us as parents, it makes it easier to have conversations with the children on this. And usually I would say to parents, it's not just about, I don't expect these children to come and take this and run with it and start investing.
Yeah.
It's about opening the line for this kind of conversation.
True.
Now there is a seed that is planted. And so somewhere at the back of their mind, even with whatever they are doing, they know that there is a possibility for something like this. And that's why I say to parents every time, it's about what is available. A lot of times, the average person, like the middle class and poor people, quote and unquote, do not take advantage of opportunities, not because the opportunities not because they are not available. It's because we don't know any better. So the rich continue to be richer because they know what is available, they know what is possible, and they key in. Do you understand?
That's it.
We had money struggling. I want to see my money. I want to see my money. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I think these are the issues, and thank you so much. Are you going to share the slides with us?
Well, let's see. I'll just save it and then I'll share with you.
Okay,
I'll share with you. Yes, ma'am. And of course, so maybe I'll just put my contact details as well on the last page
anyway,
for the slide. Yes. So anytime anyone wants to reach out, please feel free. Parents want to ask questions, please feel free. I'm available to speak to you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ma. It's been such a fun time answering questions, and the ones that I did not see coming.
I was amazed. I'm like, hey, God, when I have classes with them, I try to keep it at 45 minutes, so that the ideas of this world will not come and ask me, are we still here? Mommy, can we go now? And we're here 40 minutes, and she's here 1 hour, 1 hour, 40 minutes, and all that. She just dozed off like 5 minutes ago.
Because I know you told me 45 minutes. I was trying so hard. But the way the questions were coming, I said there's no way. Even if I'm a magician, this 40 minutes cannot be short. So you know,
I know. Thank you for spreading your wings and going
yeah,
over. Thank you, Enimoyam. Thank you for joining. Osinachi has gone off. I think the UK is 1 hour. Is it ahead or behind? Everybody's preparing for school tomorrow. So Osinachi went off at some point. All right, I'm sure that parents who would want to reach out, I would, of course. I actually run the mastermind. The mastermind is much bigger. We have like over we have like about close to 100, so I will go and make noise there about the fact that we need to start talking. We need to start talking to people, that will help add more toward our children. We can't just
very important
things, and that's what we do in this part of the world. Everything is half-baked, everything is local champion kind of things. Do you understand? So we need to start. If you're supporting the children, go all out. Right? Go all out. Let them know what's available. Let them understand these things. Let the law of first mention happen in your home. Mention these things first. Let your children say, oh, it was mommy. It was that program my mother put me in. It was from there that I learned to invest first. Because if you ask me, it was when I went to Zenith Bank. I used to be in Zenith Bank. It was when I went to the bank that I knew not anything about investment. Do you understand?
Wow.
Even at that, I couldn't put these ones in front of me and teach them about investment because carry weight like that. All right, there.
It's fine.
So thank you so much for investing your time, in the children and us and all that. We are super grateful.
Thank you. Thank you, Enimoyam. Thank you, Ada. Thanks to Osinachi in absentia. Thank you, Kamsi, and I look forward to starting your investment journey with you. Thank you so much, Mrs. Marybeth. This has been my pleasure, and well done and kudos with the good work you're doing with the kids. God bless.
All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. So parents that will be catching the replay, if you have questions, please reach out to me and we can take it from there. Well done for not allowing the children be here to ask their questions. It's on you. It's on you. The ones that have asked questions are loaded. All right. Good. Thank you very much, everyone. I will see you in the last module, maybe next weekend. We can do this. I was hoping to finish, but this is enough. Okay, let's digest this for the whole week. All right. Thank you again. Bye, everyone.